Hey yo everyone, GXVL here with a brand new Iron Age discussion when it comes to both a recap on Isom 1 and also reviewing Isom 2. That is right, I have reread and finally caught up with Isom. So what do I have to say about Isom in general though? Well, I want to say that this is indeed a very interesting character, and especially who wants to be kept on a down low. And apparently he had an incident when it comes to like being a superhero, but wants to retire and then tries to like be some sort of farmer, right? So that's my understanding of the character, and that he's an accept. But of course they don't go too much further to explain what an accept is. From my understanding, when it comes to like superhumans being thrown into the mix, is that like they can be called remotely anything. Like, yeah, you got your mutants from X-Men, and when it comes to the video game Infamous, they're called conduits. And when it comes to the likes of in DC, they can either be called, like, if you've seen Static Show, they're called Bang Babies, or at least being called metahumans when it comes to like looking at other superhuman beings like the Flash and Parasite or whatever, right? So yeah, you get these types of characters that are super powered. So using the term accept, you know what, it seems quite suitable for the Rippaverse to use. Others, they're not accept though, they have to be something else. I say that because when looking into Isom 2, I was like, oh, okay then, so I don't think this person is an accept. So let's focus on Isom 1 for a moment, where I say that like, okay, so it starts off by some lady trying to like call Avery to see if he can look into some important matters, trying to like take care of something just to be sure if someone is safe and sound, right? And then of course later on he does eventually get to meet that person. And of course you do get to see like Avery's sister and also a niece. And not gonna lie, just seeing Avery with his niece is just so wholesome to me. I like seeing a mix of action and wholesomeness. There's nothing wrong with that. If anyone says otherwise, where's your soul? Where is your soul right there? Now I do want to say though, like looking at both Isom 1 and 2, why I do need to say this. So considering young Rippa has decided to like tell everyone like what he's been using, what he's been doing when it comes to like writing out and creating the Rippaverse and the world building, is that he uses 3D assets. And to me, I see no issue with this whatsoever. Apparently some people do, and for me, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, like, guys, we're gonna be using some tools at some point. Not everything is gonna have to be like hand drawn to the core. Have you also seen like some animation stuff or especially with manga, like they're gonna be using some sort of tool where not everything is gonna be hand drawn to the core. Not everything is gonna be like Shakespeare experience. Like, come on, let's not kid ourselves here, okay? But anyways though, what I do want to say though is that like, yeah, you can still use 3D assets in a good way. Maybe if you use them in a bad way, like they're very quite noticeable, especially like, oh yeah, it's popping out like if it was like a 3D model, then yeah, I would have an issue with that, I suppose. But I don't see this as like a bad thing nor a good thing. I just see it as a tool, all right, just personally in my eyes, okay? The other thing I do want to mention is that, like, again, looking at the artwork here, especially when moving forward into Isom 2, I want to say the artwork actually looks pretty damn good, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm not kidding when I say that. Apparently some people would criticize the artwork for not looking right or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some comic books, especially some old ones, such as like the DC and Marvel, and for me, I'm like, they look pretty good, and such as these, so I don't see anything wrong unless there's like a preference. I don't know. Maybe there is some, like, maybe a little bit too oversaturation with the shadowing and maybe with the shading and adding a little bit of more darkness. But hey, if it wants to look cool, it can look cool. The only thing I will only give flack is sadly not even on here, but from like Dragon Ball Xenoverse. like looking at Goku with all that contrast and shading, I'm like, I don't know if that was really needed. You know, so I wonder if people are looking at in that case, and maybe I can kind of see that at why, but I don't know. With here, it looks better than here, than how like Goku with all that contrast and shading on that Xenoverse cover in comparison looks. So I'm gonna be honest here, and especially like as much as I be some Dragon Ball, I need to be honest with some things with Dragon Ball too. But now, also I want to mention like with the story writing so far. Everything seems so very simplistic, if I'm being honest, and especially like I want to say predictable, but it's actually pretty engaging, and especially like now, again, I want to get into like Isom 2, where like they do show that Avery, like his past incident, and especially like regretting, he has a very old suit, and now he decided to like upgrade, and they actually introduce some other characters. They show like the Alpha Core headquarters, which by the way, there's the Alpha Core like issue / volume, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm not that much interested, but I will get into much further details onto the video later on, okay? But furthermore though, there's still this guy from the first volume in which Avery, Isom himself, was trying to deal with. And it's gonna be this guy, and this guy means business, and he has to like let this other accept go. This guy right here that he was talking to. Oh wait, I was pointing it wrong. Sorry, I meant this guy right here. My bad. This is the accept that he's trying to handle, because like he was trying to fight Avery, who was hired as a bouncer. So yeah, this guy right here, who hired him, like, apparently he wasn't too keen what his own bouncer that was an accept was dealing with. So they're introducing something like a little bit more magical, or I would say like a little bit more hellish. I see this because I'm seeing like a freaking demon hell spawn right over here, if I didn't know any better. But I'm pretty sure they're being called something else. I mean, yes, I did read this, and oh, by the way, this is supposed to be his new suit, all right, which is supposed to match right exactly right here. Because his old one did look a little bit more slightly different. Yeah, there we go. I know it just looks a little bit more softer. Looks a little more orange-ish, but this one has like a nice shape to it. It's not as like a little wide. Like this one like has like a more of an orange oval than the other one. So the details are very noticeable. And the other thing is that like they also, again, when it comes to introducing characters, this girl's name is Blood Ruth, and okay, who was ever cooking up with this character, you got my attention. You got my attention with this character, Blood Ruth. I'm like, I'll be damned. And also, she's using blood as some sort of like magic ritual. I was like, okay then, like what the fudge? Like blood is coming out of her like fingertips. At least that's what I'm seeing here. But I think it looks pretty cool. I kind of dig it. I really dig it. Like, again, you really got my attention with Blood Ruth. So, aside from, like, Alpha Core, and especially Yaira, I think I want to learn more with both Norfolka and even Blood Ruth. Like, give me comics of that, young Rippa. Like, come on, man. I want to see me more Blood Ruth and Norfolka, damn it. But, as far as I know it, like, again, I just think everything is like fine and dandy to me. I don't see anything too terrible about them. But as far as I know it, I'm really digging it. I really like them, and this is what I really care about. This is what I live for. I want to see some action. I want to see some characters. To see if they're gonna intrigue me. Alpha Core definitely is not intriguing me that much. I thought Yaira would pull me in, but the more I think about it, no. I mean, like, no. Give me Blood Ruth comic book, and give me a Norfolka comic book, and then I'm good to go. But apparently, young Rippa decided to pull this out of his ass, which is Horseman, and which I'm like, that's fine if people want to read it, but for something that is the color blue, let me be honest here, it was out of the blue for me. was out of the blue for me. I'm like, come on, man. And I came up with the weird idea back then called the Horsezilla. And I'm like, it's just giving me like flashbacks to that. Hopefully that Horseman will do better than my idea. Who knows? But I don't know, man. That was completely out of pocket to me. Again, I want to see some Norfolka. Okay, I want to see some more Blood Ruth. I would like to get me some comics about those characters because, Young Rippa, you did pique my interest. But you almost lost my interest with freaking Horseman, man. So yeah, that's all I had to say. What do you guys have thoughts when it comes to both Isom 1 and Isom 2? I know this was very simplistic of a review and maybe it was kind of half-assed, but hey, I'm just kind of trying to go with the flow and trying to be as honest as possible, okay? This has been Jigs VL saying off right now.